The elements of harmony sat on their pedestals, glittering like they were stars that had been plucked from the sky and encased in metal settings. Celestia bid her guards to wait outside the chamber and approached them as one might a sleeping dragon. Before she was less than 20 feet away, she felt them buzzing in her mind, washing over her with the strange ancient magic. She had asked before how and why they had come to be, but they never responded. It was not until they blessed with powers of alicorn that she was truly able to hear them at all, and even now it was mostly whispers, like foals hiding behind doorways and giggling as she passed. She cleared her throat. Elements, I have come to thee above all else, because I, Princess Celestia, sunlight of Equestria and its gilding light, am worried. She dropped her gaze, staring at the floor. My sister has not been herself as of late, and I hear rumors that her strangeness continues unpredictable ways. She always shut her eyes, trying to think of the shouted conversation in her chambers only 3 days ago. I thought her merely unwell, but now I begin to wonder whether something more may be at work. I confess, I know not what this must be, and therefore I do come before you now to ask for the assistance. The elements glittered. Celestia listened hard for the actual words again, but she heard the inaudible whispers as she pawed the ground in frustration. Elements of harmony, I do beseech thee, thou art our greatest weapon and our greatest hope of Equestria's future. By will did my sister, and I began a region of this land. By will did we defeat King Sombra and beat back the Griffin hordes who did seek to invade our borders and dine in our citizens. By will did we select this place for our capital, call it Everfree, and build this castle to herald the world order of name. Please do not forsake me now. The elements suddenly went quiet. Celestia took a step forward, but stopped when she heard breathing behind her. Scratchy, she labored breathing, as if one who is ill but still galloped through the castle regardless. She turned to see a silhouette framed in the flickering light of torches. Luna, she stuttered, guilt evident in her tone. I didn't think thee abed at this noontime hour. Luna said nothing, since her face was cast in shadow. Celestia could not see her expression. They remained where they were for a long moment, the air fairly cracking with tension. Finally, Luna turned and kicked dirt in Celestia's direction, and galloped back the way she had come. Highness! Celestia startled awake, but all falling out of bed as the double doors to her bedchamber flew open and crashed against the walls. She sat up, pushing waves of tangled pink hair from her face. What alas thee, Captain? She cleared her throat, chasing deep sleep from her voice so she sounded more authoritative. Even just awakened, a ruler must be respectable, or she would garner no respect. Highness, it's a disastrous. The captain of royal guards dropped to one knee as he delivered news that chilled to the bone and the blood in their veins. The elements of harmony are stolen. Celestia leapt from her bed, considered waiting for her maids to dress her in golden attire, but she dismissed the idea. She would have to communicate royalty and authority in bearing her in voice. She could not wait for such insignificance if she had what he was said was true. She galloped through the castle, heedless of whom she woke to her hoofsteps or the chattering rage that followed her. She even flew across the great hall, clipping the enormous chandelier that had been a gift from the glassmakers of Eucornia province. It swung wildly in her wake, but she barely noticed. Nothing occupied her thoughts except for the elements of harmony. When she reached the chamber, she found Luna already there, her own guards searching the chamber. The unicorns bearing the insignia of the Moon Court ignited their horns and peered over every corner, searching for evidence. They had better not be looking for any clues as to how the thief had gained access to the chamber. Celestia fought. The chamber doors lay in smithereens, where they had been caved inwards by some huge force. Luna turned to her and held a foreleg to help her stop approaching them. "Halt, sister! Look upon the marks therein before lying thy hoof upon them." "Marks? Dark magic, sister." Luna indicated what appeared to be scorched wood and metal that looked as if it had been melted. She pointed at the roof of the corridor outside the chamber, which was stone. Just like the rest of the castle, there too were huge black marks. It seemed as though a great fire had erupted in the tiny space and then gone out again at the moment the doors were removed. Fire magic? Celestia wondered. But only dragons have such thing, and we are not at war with their kind. What need they have to attack us and steal the elements of harmony? Not only dragons may wield dragon magic, Luna replied grimly. And who may know the mind of another if they are not present to explain their actions and have us judge them? I have dispatched several of my guards to search the grounds. I will dispatch mine moreover. Do you not trust my stallion, Celestia? In this, dear sister, it is neither trust or competence. I distrust many eyes, many wings, and many magic horns made the difference between locating the missing elements and not. Celestia turned to her captain. Ready for my armor. I will go with them. It is night, Celestia, Luna pointed out. My domain, thou art weakened, when not below thy sun's rays. This is so, Celestia agreed. Yet it must be done. Will it, though, accompany me in searching? Luna stared at her. Her mane had lost its luster and no longer billowed like clouds and starshine. Instead, it hung lankly around her face, glimmering only now and then. I will go, she said sourly, though wherever I accompany thee is continuous for a princess of equal rank. Celestia ignored the jab as she made her way back to the chambers. Posy enjoyed working on the castle grounds. As her rump mark indicated, she had an affinity for flowers in particular and enjoyed tendering them. She, though, understood that they need more practical things like carrots, potatoes, and cabbages too. She had spent her days hoeing, planting, and harvesting as the season required. Though tiny, she had tried her best with the plow and could only make a few gouges in the soil before needing to rest. She refused to stop until her assigned patch was done, though it took her much longer than the ground ponies. She was taking one such break when a fellow shadow fell across her. She looked up, nearly spitting out the mouthful of water she had just taken, when she realized who was standing over her. Princess Luna? The princess watched as Posy whirled about to bow before her, turning her face to the newly turned earth. It smelled loamy and inviting, though at that moment Posy was more concerned with not looking like a lazybones one to one of the rulers of the whole country. For a long moment, Princess Luna simply stared out of the patch of half-plowed ground. The pony was next to the patch had finished nearly half an hour ago, and the pony on her side died and on her other side an hour before that. The sun was not yet sinking in the sky, but Posy knew she had maybe an hour's more sunlight to finish her task. This is thy work? Princess Luna asked abruptly. Yes, Highness. But thou art not scrawny. She did not say like that she was railing against the injustice of it, but with mild curiosity. Posy wondered what she had been doing there, and how long she had been watching. I am stronger than I appear, Highness. Verily that doth seem to be so. Thou art a mare among stallions, yet thy work is equal to theirs. Posy blushed. She was one of the 3 female grounds ponies to be complimented by her work and gravitating enough. But for the compliment to come from a princess, my thanks, Highness. Thy thanks are not which I require, Princess Luna said. However, thy raised face and name wouldst be agreeable. Oh, Posy got to her hooves and tried not to stare at the ground out of habit. Posy, Highness. Princess Luna smiled, with a sharp smile, maybe more teeth than necessary. Posy? A fitting moncure for one on with a rump such a marked as fine. Posy then blushed, so much that she wondered if her whole body had changed from butter yellow to scarlet. Thank you, Highness. Will it, though, walk with me, Posy? I find my mind troubled with difficulties that have affected our nation as of late, and I would appreciate the company of one such fee. Posy panicked. Even she blurted out the next words. She wanted to swallow them back. But I haven't finished the plowing. Luna laughed. I shall speak with my vice superior on thy behalf. Should be the squawk as the crows might over a fine, unfinished task. I do believe he will agree that my request for thy company, Dolph, will irritate his need of thy skills with the plow. If not, she shrugged. A moment or two of Canterlot voice doth often convince where reason cannot. Posy swallowed. Canterlot, your highness? The place from which my sister and I have heard long before Equestria was claimed. Luna smiled another sharp smile. Come, and I shall talk with thee, Canterlot, and more, little Posy. Celestia could not believe it. 2 weeks had passed, and they were no closer to finding the elements of harmony. She had been down onto the broken chamber more times than she could ever count, often just standing in the midst of devastation, hoping to hear their whispering in her mind, but to no avail. She stood on her balcony, eyes closed, reaching with her magic across the heaven to pull the sun towards the horizon. It had been getting more and more difficult as the days passed, and the elements remained missing. Not because her magic was affected, but because she had lost her heart. The combined reputations of herself and Luna would be enough to keep their enemies at bay, but eventually they would realize that Equestria's greatest defense was gone. What then? Would King Sanjarine of Griffonia order his griffins to once more invade? Would the mysterious white bears of frozen north try their luck too? Now that the Crystal Empire no longer stood in their path, Celestia felt surrounded by her enemies, and knowing that she no longer had the elements had stretched her nerves to a breaking point. At all times she appeared the figure greatest authority and confidence to her citizens, but Princess Celestia, sunlight of Equestria, in its gilding light, was frightened that the magic of 2 alicorns could not be enough to defend their entire nation, even if Luna had been at full strength. As if on cue, she had heard her sister's voice. Opening her eyes, Celestia looked down to see Luna walking below with a small yellow earth pony. She recognized the earth pony as one from the gardens, though she could not recall her name. Something to do with flowers, wasn't it? Astonishingly, Luna laughed at something the yellow mare just said, making her blush at the same shade of pink as her hair. Celestia watched as they passed by, talking animatedly. She had not seen Luna look so happy, and actually, she couldn't remember how long it had been since she had last seen Luna smile that day. It was gladdened Celestia's heart, if only a little. Luna had withdrawn even further from her heart after the loss of the elements. Every night without fail she would raise the moon, don her armor, and fly off with her guards to search for a new culprit. At first Celestia had done likewise each day, until the midnight of running a country intrigued as she was forced to leave the search for her sister, while she dealt with what seemed to be like an endless paperwork and appeals from ponies. For 3 hours a day she had held the Sun Court and listened to her woes, solving those she could, giving advice and referring to them to ponies who can help wherever necessary. Apparently Luna's complaints that ponies did not do the same thing during the Moon Court had actually been adventurous, since it had left her free to continue the search. As Celestia looked with the tiniest of smiles, Luna pointed at the clump of what looked like weeds growing between the 2 stones and the castle wall. The yellow earth pony shook her head and spoke earnestly, waving one hoof for emphasis. Luna nodded like she was praying rapt attention, glanced at the weed, and said something else. The yellow earth pony shook her head again, pulling a face they had moved on. still talking as the sky darkened above them.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.